What is up, MMA True Believers? I'm Jason Burgos for Sherdog.com, and I'm joined by a fighter looking to move to 3-0 inside the octagon when he faces off with Takashi Sato at UFC on ESPN 15 on Saturday night. And that is the man they call D-Rod, a.k.a. Daniel Rodriguez. Mr. Rod, sir, thank you for the time to talk. Just days away from this octagon return.
Hey, how's it going, man? Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it, bro. Feel great.
My pleasure. My pleasure. I have a whole bunch of questions for you because, before we talk about this fight, I wanted to go back to your win in May over Gabriel Green. That seemed like an important fight in terms of like physical, mental progression in your career. First, I wanted to talk about the physical side because while you won all 3 rounds of the scorecards, that was not an easy fight. Green was an opponent, change on 4 days' notice. While you beat him up pretty good, he showed serious toughness, pushed a really hard pace, forced you on your heels a lot during the fight. Looking back, did he offer some different challenges in the cage that ended up being like really worthwhile to overcome in a fight, and that will be kind of like really beneficial experience, stuff you experience going forward?
Yeah, man, the Green fight was it was a different experience. It was the first time someone really ate all my shots and kept pushing forward, and just applying all kinds of pressure, My cardio was feeling great that fight, but the guy kept pushing forward. I understand though it was his UFC debut and he was gonna come out and kind of make a statement.
Yeah.
That fight was actually a couple years in the making, man. Me and him were supposed to fight the local circuit. I know exactly who he is. He had a couple injuries, so he had to fall out of a couple of our fights. One was supposed to be for a title fight, and another fight was in a smaller promotion. And him coming in on short notice really didn't. I didn't think he'd come in unprepared. I know he works hard, and I do too. So it turned out to be an amazing fight. And I gained a little more experience, within that fight, as well as every one of my fights. Every one of my fights, I take something from it, win or lose. Fortunately, I win a majority of my fights.
And I'm glad you brought up like him taking shots because that's where I was going to go next with like the mental side of things. Going into that fight, you had gotten finishes in all of your wins except for one. You were working your jab throughout, landed a bunch of hard 2-punch combos on. Yet this man kept coming forward and just winging these high kicks, and his energy level was good throughout. Were there moments in the fight where you were like, good God, like this guy just doesn't back up, like he doesn't slow down at all? And was that like another challenge in the fight of staying focused, staying on strategy and not like getting mentally deterred because, he kept moving forward and attacking all the time?
Yeah. It was an amazing pace. He, I'd say like halfway through the second round, I'm like, man, I already hit the guy with my hard shot. He kept coming, you could just tell the dude was just happy to be there, You could just tell in his energy, he was gonna go out, on his shield, and it was a great fight, man. I'm just, I probably could have did a little more. Maybe I could have mixed it up, probably down a couple more down that pace. But hey, man, he was fighting my fight, So why change anything? I'm a practice striker, and it was just a good experience. I was able to, I believe that fight actually broke a record for second most significant strikes landed in a 3-round fight. So, yeah, I mean that in its own kind of says a lot about how it went.
Yeah. Now for this current, yeah.
Yeah, when I rewatch it, I've rewatched it like a million times. That's one of the things I do. I study myself more than anybody, more than I do any of my opponents. Really, I'm just trying to take where I went wrong, what I could have did, yeah.
Now, for this next career progression in this fight with Sato, it could be said that he might be like the heaviest-handed opponent you've had today. Has a a majority of his wins are by knockouts. He has the experience advantage over you as well. What does he bring to you in this fight that makes him a unique test for you? Is it simply the pop in his strikes? Is it certain technical things that he does in his striking that make him a little tricky to deal with? What makes him another step forward in this constant progression you're having now at the UFC level?
Yeah, he might be the heaviest hitter I've fought. I would say majority of the opponents that I've had over the years have, for some odd reason, have been left-handed. So that that advantage that he has over majority of his opponents, I don't think he would have that against me. And I have a lot more experience with southpaw opponents. We've been working, on his countering his attacks. Don't really seem like a much of a grappler. He might have some judo background, but as far as the wrestling goes and ground game, I think I have the advantage in this fight. So I hope to mix it up a little bit, but I'm the type of person, I never really have a game plan. I usually just go in there and just fight, you know what I mean? And the fight's going to go where it goes. And if I feel like, like I need to go for a takedown, I'm going to do it, but he does pose a threat as far as power, but, I got power in my hands too. I think I think my striking better as well. I have a more of a well-versed MMA game than him. I mean, my record shows for it, so I got some submissions as well. So I'm ready to go wherever the fight is going to go,
And that's what I was going to – and I'm glad you brought up those various things, because that's exactly where I was going to go in terms of what's the flip side of it. Is it, the boxing where you can piece them up? Is it because you are more rounded? Like you said, you got submissions in your career. Is there certain areas that maybe when you're scouting him, looking at him, that maybe you feel you can test him where someone else hasn't? Is it the grappling and stuff like that?
Yeah. Actually, in his last – when we fought Muhammad Bilal – who's not even a grappler, kept taking him down, and eventually submitted him. So, and Bilal Muhammad is really not much of a, he's more of a striker, if you ask me.
Yeah.
I paid attention to that fight a lot because he shows a lot about himself in that fight, and I've watched it once or twice, but really, I let my coaches do their thing. They're the ones that focus on what I'm supposed to do in the counters, and me, I just go in and train, and come fight day, it's all muscle memory from there.
Is there, let's say there was like a scouting report on you, and Sato and his team were looking over it, game planning for you. What do you think they might think is the best way to beat you? Even if, it's misinformed of what people think may be your weakness. What do you think they're over there in their gym thing? Oh, yeah, this is the way to go after Daniel.
Oh, man. Good question. It's hard to say, bro. Really hard to say.
All right, if you want to not answer, I'm totally fine with that. I can move on to the next. Don't want to give away too much, but all right. So the announcers mentioned in your last fight you worked out with Donald Cerrone at his BMF ranch in New Mexico, but judging by your social, you've stayed in California for this camp. Is there any specific reasons you didn't go back out to New Mexico for training? Was it COVID related and stuff like that? And did you work out of just one gym in California, or you were kind of doing maybe like a boxing style, going from different gyms around the area?
Yeah. This time I chose to stay in California. I talk with Cowboy all the time. Let him know I'm really trying to level up in jiu-jitsu. So I think this camp I've been focusing on so much more on my wrestling and my grappling. And I want to level. I want to get to brown belt. So I've been working a lot more grappling. Although I do get great work at the BMF ranch, I just chose to just to this camp. Stay close to family, stay close, and COVID hasn't really affected much of my training, to be honest with you, man. I still go to like 4 or 5 different gyms at times, you know, and really, COVID has only affected like the larger gyms, the more corporate, like LA Fitness and stuff like that. But the smaller gyms, for the most part, have opened their doors for me and really let me, you know, use their facility, you know, and have a great camp at the same time, you know. And one of the reasons why I didn't go to the ranch, I don't think Cowboy, he's just getting into camp right now, you know. So I'll probably head out there after this fight, you know, help him out with camp and stuff, you know. But for the most part of this one, I was just trying to have a solid camp and try to work with the most people as much as possible, you know. I think Cowboy just did that race too, so he was like busy with that. The match was just crazy busy with that, you know. So
yeah. Now, away from fighting, all those kinds of things, I always like to know and learn about fighters, and also for the people that watch this to learn more about their favorite fighters, what they're interested in away from fighting, because fighting can be so stressful on the body, consume so much of the mental space. So you got to do some other things that have nothing to do with it and enjoy your life. So what are some of the things that you like to do that have nothing to do with fighting? I was just playing Call of Duty. Do you like video games? A lot of fighters like video games. Do you like reading? Do you have a stamp collection? Do you have something odd we would never expect you're into?
Yeah. I'd say I'm addicted to my grills in the backyard, man.
Yeah, all right. I like that.
Traegers. Cowboy had a Traeger at his ranch. My last time I was up there, man, I lived on that thing. So now, like, when I got anytime, you know, I'm you know, thinking of something, you know, experimenting on the grill, you know, just hanging out with friends, family, my kids, you know, go shoe shopping. You know, I got a shoe fetish problem, man.
How many shoes would you say you have?
After this interview, I'm actually gonna pick up Fresh Prince of Bel-Air Jordan on the 5, man.
Oh wow!
All right. Yeah, you know.